All right, you guys here trying to be more careful with this camera, this software here. This program is very sensitive. It doesn't like being minimized or whatever, So I gotta be very careful with that because if I minimize it too much, it'll eventually stop the recording. It also doesn't like things being unplugged from it. So I actually damaged the microphone cord. So when the microphone cord stopped working or unplugged, it was like, okay, that's a problem. Stop recording. There's so many things about that, but it's still working. So we're going to be very careful, very, very careful with our thing there, and continue on with our transgender hate mail, homosexual hate mail, atheist hate mail, basically me reacting to a bunch of screen caps on YouTube and DeviantArt. There are responsive comments. I forgot about the safe work fan art. We'll get to that. Transgender hate mail, homosexual hate mail, atheist hate mail, basically me reacting to a bunch of screen caps on YouTube and DeviantArt. They're responsible for, not, that are responsible comments I made against the deviant lifestyles and a few other things. Trigger warning: if you don't like what I'm saying, go ahead, click off the video, and go watch something else. Do not lie, say there's hate speech for my videos, because there is no hate speech for my videos. Just speech hate. That's a different story. Let's get on with people getting homosexual to be transgender. Well, biology. After the non-safe work fan art. Non-safe work fan art on my tablet. Let's go. We're gonna scroll past the real, actual naked ladies in the advertisements of this stuff. You go to the cartoon naked ladies. Yeah, we see that apparently nothing's off limits here because you have a beautiful, basically good-looking cartoon female cartoon character who I guess is a mascot for some sort of cookies. Getting several different flavors of dude. You have a black dude. You have what looks like a Hispanic dude. You can't see their faces, but we see that there's a dude with black skin, the dude with dark brown, lighter brown skin. You have a dude with red skin. And you have a dude with white skin. They're all, hanging out with that girl. Yep, all of them. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. They're making something that's not cookies. My goodness. Kitty Hatswell and Tough Puppy there. Very nice. No. I like seeing Summer with dudes, but not doing sheets related too. Continue on here, please. I see Helga freaking with dudes, but they have to be the same species. So let's continue on here. Continue on here. I'm not liking this. The Lego Mother from Loud House and Lori from Loud House are doing stuff to the same dude. I'm not liking that either. Even a stick figure. What the heck? How does that work? Let me check on that. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Some of them girls aren't girls, or looks of it, in the stick figures. Yeah. They're not girls. Not really girls. They're just dressed up like girls. Oh, great. You have the glory holes. Great. Jaden and Sugar with glory holes. Not good. Not good. That's nasty. Let's continue on with our hate mail here. I'm not a fan of the glory hole because the glory hole is just a place where you put your penis through. Okay. So it's like, yeah, who's that guy? Who is he? It's like, does he have AIDS? Does he have gonorrhea? Does he have syphilis? Does he have herpes? Does he have any disease? No. You don't know. You don't know. Is that guy cheating on his wife? He's like, is that guy cheating on his wife? Is that guy? There's so many things about that stuff that's just nasty. You don't want to mess with that stuff. I'm just like, seeing those pictures takes me off because it's just like, no, don't mess with that stuff. Let's get you on here, please. Hate mail. Let's go right now. Oh yeah, Concord. Wait, we gotta go back a bit. I think we, it's failed. It went before there. Oh wait, I did it. Yeah, I did it. Okay, see you late campaign. Hate didn't kill this game. Lack of interest did. Someone else. Let's get you on here. Let's see here. Hate to kill this game like I'm interested. There's so there are more game journalists defending this. Let's call it the game than people playing it. The ones trying to control the narrative are losing control, and it's beautiful to witness. As someone else, they're thumbs up. Journalists are in denial. We are celebrating. Journalists say no marketing. Are they serious? The game is more marketing than any other. Had more marketing than any other Sony IP. 1 month before release, Concord had over 30 trailers. I counted them. That's how annoying and desperate Sony was. They really should have done is made this game a single player offline game with online multiplayer, and of course also hedged their bets. Made lower tier single player games with each character by themselves, and then basically have them all join together in a live service game and run around and do stuff together with their unique abilities. That would have been a better plan to do it, and something that you never really see, but it'd be nice to see it. It's like, all these weird looking characters, they all could do crazy stuff. Why not just have them all have their own games? If the team up fizzles out, at least you have the games. Let's see here. Limited controller for Concord. Yeah, there was a controller for Concord. Limited edition controller for Concord. Also, let's not forget the Amazon TV short series with Concord. With a couple of other IPs will be featured. Sony paid a lot of money for the animation, the screen, and time and all. Saying I had no marketing is a straight up lie. Maybe thumbs up. Maybe if they put another $200 million into the game, they could have got 700 more players. A small group of people. Yeah, that's a good description of the people who actually played this game. Thumbs up. So man, click. Concord hate mail. So it says, in my opinion, the disconnect between concept and gameplay is also a serious issue with Concord. If you're pitching me a game about being a galactic mercenary and a ragtag group of pirates, I'm not picturing gameplay being a deathmatch hero shooter in empty towns. Couldn't they have themed more of the gameplay around stealing stuff? Yeah, that would be nice. Or shooting cops or other bad guys. Otherwise, modding the fantasy they're trying to sell. Yeah, thumbs up. So it's not just that, but this ragtag group of pirates is only ever fighting amongst themselves for some reason. Yeah, that's true. That was the only mode. That was the only thing you saw about that game. I'm guessing that any semblance of campaign went a way of Overwatch 2 to be added to some unknown future date, if ever. So I never feel pirate or rebel aspect from these kind of characters. Most likely not. Nope. Kind of games, including Star Wars Outlaws, Suicide Squad, Dustborn, etc. Read more. Thumbs up. Right? You spent 8 years making a game, and this is the best you could come up with for game modes. Was starting to destroy from Call of Duty. Really? Thumbs up. I say a mode where you go through the galaxy and steal things and take down bosses would be awesome. It would have been. Eyeglasses emoji, sunglasses emoji. It would have been. My first time ever hearing about Concord was during a PlayStation Direct in my 8th year. Based on the cutscene they showed, I was expecting this to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. And all my interest went away when they said it was a hero shooter right after. Yeah, they basically said, yeah, Concord, look at all the cool stuff we could do. You saw the first cutscene, and it was looking cool and like very Star Wars-y in my opinion, and very nice. You're running around a city, trying not to to fight against these other characters, which I'd like to see playable. Would I like to see them also be playable? That'd be nice. But yeah, they're not. They're not there. But still, it would be nice to see that. And then it's like, hey, we're hanging out with these characters, and there was actually a little bit of story with these characters, and I wanted to see more story with the characters. And this was supposed to be Sony Star Wars, like a Sony Star Wars thing. They should have given us the original Star Wars. Okay. Hate on that movie all you want. The original Star Wars, A New Hope, at least gave 2 hours of story content at launch. Okay? 2 hours. All right. Eventually you got more from Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and all these other spin-offs and prequels and other stuff like that. But still, TV shows, things like that. But still, there was at least 2 hours of story at launch. I would have liked that for Concord, but yeah, and all these other games too. There's not much story content. There's like people like jumping around and shooting. I see them on Fortnite. But they're playing Fortnite. Okay, they're not gonna stop playing Fortnite. They start playing your game. That's how it goes. It's really sad to see that. So now, continue on here. Yeah, stop trying to be Fortnite. Just make your own stuff. Stop it. What was that? Holes? Yeah, I said like they started going. They basically said, okay, eventually what happened was Holes. Do I have time for this? Let me see here. I gotta check and do it right without stopping the recording. Yeah, we have time. A little time. Okay, Holes. The way Holes works. The movie Holes, Shia LaBeouf movie. I think it was one of the first times I ever saw Shia LaBeouf. Other than on was that One Saturday Morning, Zoog, Powered, whatever. Yeah, Even Stevens. Yeah, but anyway, basically Holes. The plot of Holes was that there was a notorious outlaw called Kissing Kate Barlow, and she robbed stagecoaches, bank stagecoaches and stuff, and threw all that treasure into treasure chests, and then put it in a hole. They buried it somewhere outside of. Buried it somewhere. Okay. In the desert, where the holes, the place that would eventually be the boys' prison or penal colony or whatever correctional facility would be. That is the main setting of holes. Several young dudes who did wrong, messed up and did wrong, were sent to this correctional facility. How much time do I have? Yeah, continue. Correctional facility, and they basically were told, basically you're going to basically build character by digging holes. Okay, you got to dig holes and build characters. 5 feet deep. That's how it goes. Every day for several hours until it's getting from like sunrise to sunset or whatever. Whatever. You go home. You not go home. You go back to the basically the boarding houses. You eat, you get food, you get water, whatever. But you eat, you sleep. Then the morning comes, you go out and dig again. That's what you're supposed to do. That's how it goes. It's supposed to build character. That's what they were saying. That's what it was. But turns out that the treasure chest that they were looking for, treasure chest, whatever they were looking for, were there. Okay, so they're basically like that the 3 people who were trying to look like legitimate, basically law enforcers that turned out to be criminals themselves. They were hanging out there. So it's like, yeah, they were hanging out wanting to force these young dudes to who just made mistakes like Stanley did. Because Stanley basically, there was someone stole shoes, a pair of valuable like Jordan-like shoes, and basically Stanley, they basically threw him off of an overpass to lose the evidence, and they fell right in Stanley's hands, as he was walking home. He's like walking home. He's like from school, so they fell right on him, and he's like, "What the heck?" He gets up with these things in his hand, and everybody's chasing him. And everybody's chasing the other kid who stole the shoes, and they see he has the shoes. Like he's the one who stole it. He's got them. He's with them. So that's how he got in trouble. So yeah, so he gets to put in the whole facility, the whole facility. He's sent over there. And he's told, yeah, you're going to dig holes and stuff. So they start digging the holes, and eventually he finds something, a lipstick, a used thing of lipstick from Kissy K. Barlow in his hole. But another kid was like, hey, man, listen, I've been digging way longer than you have. I think you should you should let me have that, that thing, and I'll say I found it. And so it's like, okay, cool. Then the guy's like, okay, I guess, because it's like both apathy and being bullied into it. And so he's like, yeah, okay, fine, here, you can have it. Here you go. Gives it to him. Other dude gives the lipstick to the trio of losers there, losers that are in charge of the place, and they're like, okay, yes, I found this in my hole. He says, my hole. Yeah, I found this in my hole. He says. So basically, like, all right, cool. Everybody dig around that hole in that area. Start digging. We're doing something different now. So everybody work together to dig around that stuff for a good few days. They didn't find anything because that was not the right hole. So, after a while of that, eventually one of the losers, Mr. Sir, basically the muscle of the group, he's like, yeah, okay, after a few days, we haven't found, basically we decided instead of digging all in the same place, everybody's going to go back to digging their own individual holes. That's what the AAA needs to do, in Western AAA especially, needs to do right now. You're not finding anything. In fact, you're losing a lot. Okay? It's time now to stop digging in the same place. Stop making like serious games. Start digging your own individual holes again. Start making your own games. You have ideas for games, make them single player offline with online multiplayer. Leave it alone. If online multiplayer fails, then at least you have single player offline. At least you still have at least evidence that your game existed. They can be played. So that's how it goes. See you guys next time. Check me out on YouTube and DeviantArt.